Yes, welcome to the High Grade Radio Podcast with your hosts, Nick Harkson and Hayden Ranks. Yes, welcome to another episode of the High Grade Radio Podcast. Hayden, how you doing tonight?
Once again, I'm doing very well, Nick. You want to tell them why?
Yes, we have a great guest with us tonight. We have Wisdom and Sound, y'all.
What up? What up?
What's going on, man? So, Andrew, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Let them know what you do, brother.
Yeah. Well, I'm Andrew Mencher, a.k.a. Wisdom and Sound. I make reggae music. I like to say conscious reggae music because I always keep that, the lyrical content, conscious and aware of what I'm doing and try to give a little, message than just kind of randomly talking about my day or something. You know what I mean?
Right on, dude. That's what's up. Well, dude, you play a bunch of different instruments. I don't know which one you started with, but what got you into playing music in the first place? And
Yeah.
it all start.
I appreciate that. So I mean, man, I try to keep it brief, but I've been listening to music since I was like 6 years old. And originally it was funny because I originally got into Iron Maiden around that time because I have an older brother who's like 12 years older than me.
Sick.
And he always played Iron Maiden tapes at that time. And I went to school wearing like Iron Maiden pins in my hat and stuff. So I think what really lured me though was like those guitar harmonies that they play. That's, they're synonymous for that or whatever. But ever since that, man, I've just been intrigued by music. My dad had a bunch of vinyl records, mainly reggae music. So definitely picked my interest a lot. I grew up in Florida. And so as a Jewish kid in Florida, you normally go on a bunch of cruises. So I was blessed to do that with my grandma and my aunt. And, we're in the Caribbean basically. So I went to Jamaica and like all the other Caribbean islands. And man, just the culture and the vibe of just being there was like, whoa, something totally different than what I was used to. And then just being influenced by, my dad's vinyl collection and all the reggae, obviously Bob Marley, but he had Black Uhuru and Steel Pulse and, Burning Spear. I mean, I can name a list, but I just was like blown away once I started hearing that stuff. And ever since that, that was about when I was like 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I was young and impressionable at those ages. So it was like, whoa, blew me away, when I heard that stuff. And then of course seeing dreadlocks was like, what is this? It's a totally different culture. And I was just like blown away. So I kind of knew from a young age that I was going to start making music. And once I got into like middle school, that's when you get into band class and all that stuff. So it was funny. I originally went into band saying, I want to play drums. And it was funny because like I was moving around, like the school districts were moving. And so I had to go to a different school than my brother went to. And I wanted to go to that school or whatever. So long story short, I didn't get in the first day of band class. So when I got in, I told the band teacher, I'm like, I want to play drums. And she's like, oh, we have a ton of drummers already. How about the French horn? And I'm like, French horn. All right, then. So I was like, whatever, cool. I'm a young kid. I was like impressionable. So I was like, sure, let's do it,
Nice.
But I played the French horn. I learned how to read music, write music. And I did that throughout high school. And then during that time, something that influenced me as well, I just want to put it out there because it's so impactful, was what's called Drum Corps International, DCI.
Okay.
And it's like professional marching band, but you can only be 21 years old, up to 21. And like, it's a nonprofit organization. So these kids would pay to march for the summer. It was kind of like a sports team and they would compete all over the world. And that was like, blew me away because to me, what that was like military for music. So like, instead of going into battle with your weapon, you went into battle with your instrument. And it just like blew me away. So that totally like influenced me. Plus it's drum corps. So the drums was like off the charts, man. After this interview, I'm sure you'll check it out. But that also intrigued me. So I started picking up the drums on my own during that time as well, and marched in high school as well, brass instruments, and then picked up the drums about 16 years old, taught myself, and was like, dude, this is it. At 16, I was like, I'm doing music for life. You know, I made my mindset. I'm like, I don't care about being a doctor, a lawyer, you know, none of that stuff. Like, obviously, you know, in American culture, we like, you have to go to college, you have to make a lot of money. But at that age, I was just like, I don't really care about any of that stuff. You know, like all I care
Right.
about is music. It's the most like passionate thing that affects me on such a grand level that that's what I want to do. So started doing that. And then eventually, like at 19, I learned that I can make music with my computer, which was in 1999. And I was blown away at that point. I had like a crappy Aptiva 512 megabyte, you know, CPU. And I was just like, whatever, man, we're gonna put this thing to work. And that's what I started doing, man. So I started making like, I mean, still always reggae was like my thing. But at that time, I didn't really, you know like my voice, and didn't really know, you know, I was still exploring like who I am and what is my thing, right? So I was doing electronic music because it was, you know, you don't have to sing, you don't have to be like on a camera or whatever, or in the front or whatnot. So, and plus I love like all kinds of electronic music too, you know. So I did that, and I made a record in 99, and it's pretty cool, you know. It came out good. I thought it was, you know, this was before I had any schooling or knowledge of what the hell I was doing, you know.
Right on.
But that was cool, man. And then from that, I was just like, dude, I got to take this to the next level. Plus, again, the thing about going to college, becoming something, you know, doing something. So I was like, shoot, man, all right. So I went to Full Sail. It's a recording arts school in Florida, and I learned audio engineering on a, you know, professional level. And
Sick.
since that, I moved out from here to California, started in San Diego, and when working in some sick studios with serious equipment, and you know,
Yes.
got my taste for that, and worked with some fantastic artists, some amazing audio engineers that obviously I'm totally blessed for. And just, man, from there I was like, dude, I gotta stay with this forever, you know, of course. And then eventually I was like working on so many other artists' music, and like listening to their vision. And I got some funny stories I could tell you, but we can go into that some other time. But
Yeah.
you know, you hear these crazy stories because musicians are artistic, and they got like all kinds of ideas and their vision and whatever. So as an engineer, you know, you have to make their vision come to life. And I'm like, okay. And it's like off the wall shit. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm thinking, you know, this whole time, like, yeah, it's the job. I got to do it. Plus I do enjoy it. But I was like, dude, I'm tired of your vision already. Like, I have a vision. I need to figure that out and
Right.
go forward with it, you know?
For sure.
And I think it just took like some growing up, maturing to do, to figure out like what I was, you know, how to put this thing together, and also to like do reggae music in a way that wasn't faking, you know, because like you, from my experience, there's been, and especially like in the 90s and early 2000s, you had a lot of reggae artists that were doing like the fake Jamaican voice and trying to be like patois and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I can't do that because I'm just not, I don't really like to fake, you know, stuff, you know. I'm just like more real or whatever. At least I think I am, you know. I'll let you determine that. But you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, well, I want to do reggae because I love that. But it's like I'm a white dude. So how can I do justice to the music, also paying respects to like the originators in Jamaica, because I wasn't born into like Rastafarian culture or anything. But obviously I love that. So, you know, I feel like I'm my own worst critic. And I was just like, dude, you know, like I said, as I grew up and matured, I kind of was like, you got to get over that stuff, man. You just got to go for it and do it, man. You know, and like a lot of things that I've listened to, and mentors that I've been around, and other podcasts that I've heard, it's just like, you know, you got to step up to the plate and do the damn thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, dude, this is it. You got to just put it out there and not worry about what people think, because at the end of the day, like I like my music and I like to hear it in the car and bump. You know, I love like speakers and subwoofers. So I'm like, I just want to make shit that bumps. And even if no one listens to it, I'm going to listen to it. My mom will at least love it, you know, and that's all that matters. So that's kind of what I did. You know what I mean? So anyway, man, I can talk forever, dude. So
Well, dude, let's get into one of your tracks right now, man. We're talking about your music. We might as well get into one that you just released a video for, and we'll talk more about after that we just listened to it right now. But this one is called "No Negative Vibes," and it's by Wisdom Sound, and it goes like this.
You must direct your life like a movie. No time for questions like what it could be. You're faced with a choice, no doubt it should be easy. The ride is passing by if you're checking out. Illuminate to heights, burn like a light beam. I'm sure you won't think twice to paint a nice scene. Take yourself into account would be the right thing. Time is on your side if you let it now. You must protect yourself because no one else is gonna lead or put you on top shelf. Kick out them negative vibes. You never have to listen, this is your own life. You must credit yourself because no one else is gonna school or put you on top shelf. Kick out them toxic thoughts. You never have to listen when someone talks. There is no sacrifice to chase the right dream. They'll pay the asking price without harassing. Social proof is obsolete. Who keeps on asking? Turning up the tide will keep you steady now. Attention span is tight, and not to lose it. It's all within your sight, attained by movement. Chance that you have to succeed, who would refuse it? Moments for the taking when you're ready now. You must protect yourself because no one else is gonna lead or put you on top shelf. Kick out them negative vibes. You never have to listen, this is your own life. You must credit yourself because no one else is gonna school or put you on top shelf. Kick out them toxic thoughts. You never have to listen when someone talks. You must protect yourself because no one else is gonna lead or put you on top shelf. Kick out them negative vibes. You never have to listen, this is your own life. You must credit yourself because no one else is gonna school or put you on top shelf. Kick out them toxic thoughts. You never have to listen when someone talks.
That was Wisdom and Sound once again with No Negative Vibes. And that was featuring Blaine Dillinger on guitar right there too as well. We just had him in here. You want to get into a little bit about that song and linking up with Blaine and whatnot?
yeah, definitely, man. Give thanks for that. So that tune, that's my most recent tune I just did, which I think is one of my stronger works. And you know what? To be honest, man, I think it was, I can't remember exactly which one, but it was a Collie Buddz tune that just came out recently. And I was like hyped on that tune. So I was like, dude, I got to figure out like, you know, something that's hitting hard, you know, like that. And I kind of based it on Collie Buddz tune, and it's very different now after all the production and stuff, but that was kind of like an inspiration to make that rhythm from the get-go, you know. And but the long story short, man, like that tune, I think I wrote the hook first. I usually write my hooks first. It's just kind of like the easiest thing to do. I get a melody in there, and man, when I came up with that hook, like, you know, you must protect yourself because no one, and I was like, dude, I'm hyped on this thing right now. And I had like, you know, I mentioned like Top Shelf, which I did not have in mind, but there is Top Shelf magazine who just premiered the video. What's that?
Well, I said, shout out Top Shelf, man.
Yeah. Shout out for real, man. Huge love to those guys for real. But when I put that shit together, I was like, dude, Top Shelf, like, whoa, Top Shelf music. I'm like, come on, like maybe we could do something, you know, a little link together on that. But the lyrical content was potent in that sense, because I was like, man, I do all this music myself, as we stated earlier, and I produce all my own music. And I was like, man, you know, I don't have a band. I don't have producers. I don't have engineers. I do everything. So I'm like, no one's going to do it for you. You know what I mean? And like, I think as a youth, I was always, you know, I was in a bunch of bands and always put together like my homies and whatnot. We always jammed in the garage and stuff. And it was like, we were always looking for a singer, a bass player, a guitar player, or whatever to do this thing. Right. But we never found like the people we needed. And it was always like, oh, well, we can't do it now, so we don't have the singer. Oh, let's just, you know, close shop. And I'm like, nowadays, I'm like, nah, man, we're going to go forward, utilize the gear and the shit that we have, and, you know, or at least I have. And I'm like, even if it's like crappy, whatever, you know, or like in my room or in my house or wherever it's at, I'm going to do it, you know? And so that's kind of like the meaning behind the song is like, don't let anything stop you. You know, like, don't make any excuses. That's the one thing. Like, honesty is always the best policy, right? I know how cliche that is, but if you're just honest and you don't make excuses or make up some bullshit, you just go forward with what you can do. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of it, man. It's like, pursue your passion and your dreams, because it's like, that's what I'm all about. I'm so big on that, especially nowadays, because I gave up like a pretty solid career recently to pursue the music. And it was like, you know, big decision, but I was in this, you know, office every day doing, you know, nonsensical work that I was just like, okay, I know what the end road looks like, you know, whatever salary that is, and then promotions and so on and so forth. I know what that looks like, and it looks decent, right? It's a good living, whatever, but I'm more intrigued by the mystery of what this music can do, you know? So that was like the big step. So with that, it was like, man, just 100% go forward with it, no matter what. It doesn't matter what anyone says. As I mentioned again earlier, you know, people are going to talk shit all day and say, you know, not only shit, but there's going to be positive, there's going to be negative, there's going to be across the board, all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, you just got to mute that stuff out and do what, you know, guides you to be you know what I mean? And so that's really the background about that tune, lyrically. But musically, I make everything on Reason. I don't know if you're familiar, but I make all the music's on Reason, and then I mix and master in Pro Tools because I learned that in school. And so, you know, that's industry standard stuff. So it's just, I'm used to it and I know how to use it. So that's what I do. I'm thankful as a mother to have tons of plugins that, you know, they model like every real piece of gear that you could find in a real studio. So it's crazy because the stuff, you know, it's not exactly the same as the real deal, but it's pretty damn close. So I'm like, all right, let's just go with that, you know, like Neve preamps and SSL channels. Like SSL is a console with EQs and compressors and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just like, let's go for it, and then as far as like the instrumentation goes, I did keys, bass on keys, so it's like MIDI, got a MIDI keyboard. I used on this track, actually I used an electronic drum kit, but I hooked it up MIDI into Reason, but sampled like real drum sounds and then mixed it in a sense to create like a live drum sound. So to me, it's, it sounds pretty damn close to live drums. And there's this thing in audio engineering that is called the glue. So like, when you have a microphone on drums, it's not just picking up the snare drum, it's also picking up the toms, the hi-hats, and whatever the room sound is. So I call that the glue. So I kind of try to emulate that with the electronic stuff too, so you still have that live feel, and then it's funny, man, because I record vocals actually in my daughter's room. So it's,
Right
I come from like a non-traditional school, man. Like, what I always tell people is that you never hear absolute silence. No matter where you are in the world, you always hear air or, birds if you're outside or whatever, right? You hear something. So you're never going to be in like a closed space when you hear absolutely nothing. So I'm like, sometimes maybe in the past I've done this, not on this tune, but I would like put little ambient sounds in there, maybe birds or like some air or, something just to give it a live feel. You know what I mean? So I come from like very non-traditional standpoint where it's like the kid's room, man, it works, dude. I have no problem with that, So that's what I did with that. But yeah, man, it seems to work. Like I'm happy with that. And like I said, I utilize the tools that I do have. I'm not worried about what I don't have right now. Eventually I'll get there. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about progressing and stuff.
So you record all your stuff like in home. You don't go to a studio anymore and record there. Any of your instruments all at home?
Yep, all at home.
Sick. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at my vocal booth right here too. I mean, this is it. But no, dude, that's awesome, dude.
Dude, whatever gets the job done. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Dude, and the instruments, like you said, dude, they sound. I did not know you did the drums MIDI either. They sound real, dude. They all sound like they're live, playing like you're recording through a mic or something. Not really. So I mean, you did a great job of the production, dude. Good job.
Thanks, man.
Now, how'd you link with Blaine? What happened?
Yeah. Good question. I wanted to get to that for sure too, because Blaine's been just an integral part in my last two tunes. Well, on the EP, he did the guitar parts for Had Enough, and then of course the guitars on No Negative Vibes, which he killed it, dude. And so Blaine, I met very briefly. In 2015, I was blessed to go on tour. I played drums in a band called The Ambassadors, my good buddy out in Virginia, Stephen Lewis. And right on,
How about the Ambassadors? Yeah, for sure, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy. I did not know you're the drummer. Nice.
Okay, yeah. There might be, I don't know, like there's a couple different groups, The Ambassadors, so I don't know, which one exactly but this is my good friend. He's super talented, but I met him in like 2007 in San Diego, and I was blessed to go on tour with him. We did a run called the Caravan to Cabo, and that was in 2015, where we went down. It was like 5 or 6 other bands, Hyrie, of course. What's the other band I'm trying to think of? Tomorrow's Bad Seeds.
Okay.
Was there. Yeah, and then like a couple more, I can't remember exactly, but we went down through Cabo and we donated instruments to orphanages and kids at schools just to like promote music and give them instruments and like, brighten their day, which was like so freaking cool, man.
That is awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. It was like profound, you know what I mean? Because you're going to, kids who have less than most American kids, and like definitely less than I had growing up, and you're blessing them with like music instruments from Taylor Guitars they sponsored, and other awesome name brands. And it was so cool because we would go to these orphanages, we would perform for them, you know, be like all the bands that went in like a little kind of half arc, you know, and all the kids were there. Like they got cut out of class for the, you know, hour or whatever, which I'm sure they love.
Hell yeah.
And then, you know, a couple cover tunes, or like Hyrie would do a couple tunes, or, you know, Tomorrow's Bad Seeds would do a few tunes. And that was awesome. And so when we went down, obviously Blaine was playing at that time, and that's when I befriended him. And I mean, obviously I saw his skill set, and that dude is so humble and so nice for like such a badass guitar player that could shred. Dude has no ego, you know what I mean? Like it's unbelievable. So, and I'm, you know, I'm a little shy, I guess, man, when I meet, you know, artists that are awesome like Hyrie or Blaine, you know, and it's like I just, you know, I feel humble in the sense that I'm like not as good, or, you know, like I'm not up to that level yet. You know, Hyrie's touring all over the world and shit, or at least the country, right? And or like Stick Figure, obviously they weren't on the tour, but I mean they're killing it. And it's like these guys are doing so great, and I'm like obviously look up to them. So, you know, meeting Blaine was like, whoa, like this guy actually, you know, is really nice, you know, takes the time, has a conversation, talks to you and shit, and it's like, you know, you feel homies with the dude. So after that, I was like, man, you know, and again, like kind of shedding that immaturity and sort of growing up and being like, you know, I'm not just some, you know, random weirdo on the street or whatever, you know, I actually am like a person, right? So I should know my worth, you know, which again, I think No Negative Vibes is about. It's like knowing your self-worth. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be like intimidated, and we should never be, right? But I don't want to live that way ever. But I want to reach out to these people and make friends, you know, and especially being an artist and making music, it's a friends game, dude. I mean, not, you know, I don't think of it as a game, but it's all about making friends, you know? So I reached out to Blaine, and I was just like, dude, you think you could bless me with a couple of, you know, guitar takes or whatever, you know, on the first track? And I'm like, of course I'll pay you, or like whatever you need from me, you know? And he was down to do it. And, you know, I know in his interview, he was like, yeah, Andrew just lets me do whatever. And that's kind of my vibe. Like, I trust the dude. I know his skill set. So it's like, bro, I know you're going to crush it.
Right.
Just, you know, and if you're feeling it, number one, like, then shoot, we're already half the battle's done. You know what I mean? So here's the track. Go have fun, do your thing, bro. And I'm sure it's going to be fire. And I mean, seriously, like on No Negative Vibes, he wrote to me when he finished it, before I got the tracks, he wrote, dude, I hope you like it, man. I really did some different shit with it. And I was like, cool. Like, what do you got, you know? And he sent it, and I was like, bro, you killed it, dude. Like, sick. You killed it. So, and the only direction I gave him was like, yo, I want those harmony guitars, you know, like that Iron Maiden sound. And then I want to mention too, like Aya Terror, they're another band that has recently. Their guitars are like off the charts, man. So I was like, yeah, right. So I was like, bro, can we do something like, you know, those harmonies like that? That shit is sick. And he was like, yeah, no problem. So if you listen to the tune, you'll hear those harmonies going off.
Definitely, dude. And I'm definitely right there with you on the love and harmonies, like with the guitar on the solos and stuff. I've always loved that when a band does that. It's sick, and sounds great on your track for sure, dude. Blaine is an awesome guy, like you said too, man. He is very humble, dude. What a great dude, man. But
it's a blessing having that dude in my life, man, for real.
For sure.
You know, and like being around that caliber, and you know, obviously we're at a distance. I'm on the East Coast, he's on the West, but even still, to have a text message, even at the very least a text message, it's like, bro, that makes my whole day. You know what I mean? Or like, even with you guys right now, man, seriously, it is like such inspiration, and it just fuels the fire to keep going with that, you know, keep going with that passion, dude. And it's like, you know, the more of those kinds of interactions, it's that passion just goes like from, you know, up, and that fire just keeps building, and there's nothing that can stop you, man, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome to hear that, man. That's why we created this platform. Our platform is your guys' platform to tell your stories and to feel your fire, to keep creating. And we enjoy it. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's totally mutual, bro.
Definitely, dude. And I know you mentioned like you thought Blaine is like a rock star and stuff when you guys met and whatnot, but I saw in 2006 you were working front of house for Pato Banton, man. Like you were doing it already with a pretty big name. You want to get into a little bit of that? Was
Yeah,
that
man.
like for a tour, or was it just like around town, or what was it about?
Yeah, give thanks, bro. Because, again, I mean, yeah, I have that in my bio and stuff. And I guess it's important. But at the same time, like, I don't like to, like, toot my own horn per se. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, I don't want to come off arrogant. And it's not that again, I don't really give a shit what people think so much. But it's more like I give a shit what I think. So I know that I just stay humble and stay me, which, you know what I mean? That is me to be like, like I don't like name dropping and shit like that just because, I don't know, man. Just what does that necessarily mean? You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
It's a part of your resume too. So like, why not put it out there?
Indeed. And, I appreciate that. I really do, man. And it's like, see, that's the thing, man. I guess for me, I want to be, I don't know if it's just stay humble or whatever, but that's just who I am, man. By inherently, like I'm just a calm kind of dude. I'm very serious too, but it's like I just like to express myself, in a very honest way. So this is how I do it. You know what I mean? So long story short, but anyway, with Pato, man, let me think how that came about, dude. So my good friend Carlos played bass for Mystic Roots. I don't know if you know Mystic Roots. They're sick.
I do. The bassist in my band, Two Piece, right now is now the bassist for Mystic Roots. So, I mean, I don't want to say that he replaced him or anything because I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But he just got hit up, and now so that's crazy link right there that you just said. But
Dude.
anyways, continue with your story, brother.
Totally. Nothing's coincidental, right?
You're right.
But yeah, man. So my buddy played bass for Mystic Roots, and Mystic Roots, I don't know, Coot Dog's a freaking master of disaster, bro. So somehow he linked with Pato. He got on as Pato's backing band during that time, and they needed an engineer. And so my good friend Carlos was like, I know the guy, So he called me up. He was like, yo, Drew, you want to do some live sound for Pato? I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course, dude. Like, shit, what do I got to do? So I went up to LA, which they were rehearsing at. Actually, they were recording a new record. I think it was like a remake of a bunch of his songs, but in LA and, in modern day, I guess, because Pato's been around since like the 70s.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude is off the charts. But I met Pato, linked up with the band, and they barely asked me anything. They didn't even want to see my skill set or nothing, man. I guess they just trusted Carlos and was like, yo, this dude's got a good vibe. Let's put him on. So that's kind of how that happened. And I was like, no shit, dude, you guys were going to put me on. It was a 6-week run, and it was all throughout California. We did the Monterey Bay Fest. We did a bunch of dates in Oregon, a couple in Washington, and then 2 weeks in Hawaii. And I was like, yeah, it blew my mind, dude, because they, everything was paid for, and flight was taken care of, food, per diem, everything was done. And I was just like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I can, in my wildest dreams, because I love reggae music, of course, growing up, and I just always wanted to be with the big dogs, the OGs. Pato, of course, one of them. And when that happened, I was just like, holy shit, is this really going down right now?
Dude, that's so cool. That's awesome, man. I mean, getting to go and travel per diem too, man, that's
Dude.
You can't ask for more. Like,
No.
Just mixing music too and doing what you love, and for a band that you grew up listening to too, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, oh my God, totally. It was sick because, every night it was like my own personal concert by like one of my favorite reggae artists, and I'm standing in the best location in the venue that you could be in, you know what I mean? So it was sick, dude.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey,
There.
man, let's get back to some of your music. And we're going to play one that you mentioned a little bit there. And this is also featuring Blaine Dillinger on guitar. And it's called Had Enough by Wisdom and Sound. And it goes like this.
Yo, wisdom and sound. I'm here to tell you, don't be constrained by society. Don't allow yourself to be held down by the red and blue politicians, the critics. Cause while they're all complaining, we're here pursuing the dream. Can you ease it up? Only Jah release the pressure. I wanna tear it up. Break us down, no one can do. So can you turn it up? They can't silence us forever. Have you had enough? Stand firm in a world of uproar. What is honor when your words are causing war? Intolerance is rough. Who hasn't had enough? It doesn't take a thing to be enlightened. A better world where there's peace, not fighting. You know the feeling when they seem corrupt. You have to be abrupt, no time to get mixed up. So can you ease it up? Only Jah release the pressure. I wanna tear it up. Break us down, no one can do. So can you turn it up? They can't silence us forever. Have you had enough? Can't cope in a life of mistrust. Forced to fire by the rules imposed on us. Shouldn't act surprised. You craft your own demise. Respect due to the ones authentic. Pure of heart what we're representing. When the system going up in flame, you have to move with aim. Victory can claim, so can you ease it up? Only Jah release the pressure. I wanna tear it up. Break us down, no one can do. So can you turn it up? They can't silence us forever. Have you had enough? Someone have vision and the faith to get works done. Society is weak if they don't let you speak. We've been fooled to think they offer guidance, but false leaders tell you just keep quiet. We need to see results of standing up, though it can be tough, but we've had enough. So can you ease it up? Only Jah release the pressure. I wanna tear it up. Break us down, no one can do. So can you turn it up? They can't silence us forever. Have you had enough?
Yes, once again, that was Wisdom and Sound with Had Enough, featuring Blaine Dillinger on guitar. But everything else that you hear is done by Andrew here, man. Once again, dude, track sounds great, sounds professional. All the instruments, I don't know if you did them the same kind of way or what, but they sound like real deal drums, everything, dude. So, did you do the MIDI again?
Yeah, same thing, man. Same process. Yeah, good.
Nice.
Thanks, bro. Because that means a lot, man. On that one, actually, I just programmed the drums, like just with a keyboard. I didn't even use the electronic kit to MIDI it up. And it's pretty cool. You know, I mean, I always look back and I'm like, oh, I could have done this or that, but I'm pretty happy with that tune. And like, again, the guitar playing that Blaine did was like spot on. But that tune, it's funny, man, because that tune, I reached out to a good friend of mine from band's class or whatever in middle and high school. And he actually turned into a band director at a middle school who's doing phenomenal shit. But anyway, I reached out to him recently because he marched corps, drum corps, and I was like, bro, you know, drum corps is so big in my life, and that tune had enough. The intro has like these dissonant chords, which you'll hear a lot in drum corps. And I originally wrote like horn lines, and I put like all kinds like layers and layers of horns on top of that shit just to make it like super epic. Yeah. But eventually took it off because it was just too much. But you'll hear little dissonant chords and stuff like that. But you know, that was definitely inspired by drum corps, that intro for sure.
Sick. Well, that's what's up, man. I mean, once again, sounds super professional. Doesn't even sound like you used a MIDI at all. Sound like you mic'd up all the instruments and killed it once again, dude. But we're going to get into a segment that we do here on the High Grade Radio podcast, and this is the Smoke Sesh.
Smoke Sesh. What you smoking on, bitch? Smoke Sesh. What you smoking on,
bitch? This is Smoke Sessions with High Grade Radio.
Yes, welcome to the Smoke Session, Andrew. I know that you're not going to blaze it up today, but that's okay because I am going to partake still. And Hayden, while I am going to blaze this up, actually, before I let you take over, I'm going to let everybody know what I'm blazing up on today. Today, I got the High Grade Farms. I don't know if you can see that. And I don't know, do you know what kind this is? Oh, it's
Animal Mint.
It's the Animal Mints from High Grade Farms. Probably a hybrid.
No
Indica.
Gorilla Glue or wedding cake?
Switched it up today. Had to.
27%.
27%. Just found 27% THC. Crazy. All right. Well, I'm going to blaze this bong. Hayden, you take over the smoke sesh real quick. And Andrew, I hope you enjoy, brother.
Well, here we are in the smoke sessions. We're going to get into a little this or that questions. So let's just go ahead and kick it off right now. East Coast or West Coast living?
Oh, dude, West Coast, straight up.
For sure, man. So what about the reggae scene? East Coast or West Coast?
Yeah, man. I mean,
or worldwide.
Yeah, nowadays it's worldwide. But, I mean, seriously, like, besides Jamaica and the Caribbean, it's all about the West Coast.
Yeah, even more so than Florida, since it's like right there.
Huge, way more, man. Like in Florida, I mean, you probably you have a couple of festivals, but we do not get. Shoot, I would say like we probably get a quarter of the artists, if that the West Coast gets. And like even I was recently at a Steel Pulse down in Miami, and Michael Rose was there, which was sick.
That is dope.
Dude, it was dope. Yeah. But it was, see, here's the cool part. And I have to say, man, cause I don't want to just diss on Florida like that, but there was only like maybe 1,000 people there, bro. So it was like wide open, dude. You can get right up front. Boom. You know what I mean? Steel Pulse. Like if that was in Cali, forget about it, dude.
And I got to say, dude, to the people out here in Cali who are complaining about the same reggae lineups at every festival, you got to be grateful because the rest of the nation is not getting that. We are very spoiled with our reggae out here, but we got to be grateful and go and see them while you can. And, dude, all right, so this is a crazy story. I believe it was Black Uhuru. They played up in Chico. I wasn't there, but my buddy sent me a video. There was only like 75 to 100 people in the crowd for that show.
Damn.
Which is very rare in California, but they didn't really advertise for it, so that is a rarity. But I mean, that had to have been special. But
wow, was that recent?
Yeah, that was like right before this whole quarantine thing get down. It was their most recent tour out here in Cali.
Oh shit!
And I wish I would have made the trip up there because it's only an hour and a half drive from me, and had no idea they were there. But I guess that's why they only had 75 to 100 people there. But
that's badass,
right.
Dude.
Well,
all right, let's get back. Do you prefer recording or playing live better?
Oh man, I mean, I, it's a good question, especially because everything's been recording for me lately. But I really like both, obviously. But I love performing, especially when I played drums with a bunch of, I played in a bunch of different bands throughout Cali and whatnot, and played drums for, and I just love the performance, because it's like interacting with your crew on stage plus the crowd, when you get that feedback from the crowd and other people, it's awesome, you know what I mean? But obviously I love recording as well, but it's just, me by myself, so there's no interaction with anybody, and I just got to come up with all this shit, lyrics or whatever, melodies and all this stuff, and it is what it is, but yeah, man.
Before we get to the next question, what can we expect from a live show from you?
Yeah, shit. When Wisdom and Sound starts playing live, dude, honestly, I want to put, this is crazy, and I hope, well, I don't know if anyone's going to steal this idea, but I want to put like kung fu performers on stage and like crazy shit that you never see, you know what I mean? Instead of like, I know it's funny, man, but like I love martial arts, I studied martial arts a bunch in my life, and when you go to a concert, you just see like the band jamming, playing their guitar, their drum or whatever, and it's like, man, that's cool, but I want to do something different, dude. Like, I'm still in touch with a lot of my kung fu brothers and sisters in San Diego, and they're all amazing. So I'm sure when I get my live thing going, I could call any of them up and say, yo, come out to my show. I want you on stage doing kung fu shit, and just going nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe like some fire dancing, just something different, like it's about entertainment, right? So I want to entertain.
Exactly.
For sure, man.
No, that's awesome. That would be like an awesome festival vibe too, like when I'm at a festival, I love you see different stuff, and I've seen not kung fu. I've never seen kung fu on stage, but I've seen like different performers on stage and whatnot, and it always intrigues me. So that's a good idea, dude. Good job.
Yeah, right on.
Well, all right. This is kind of one of our out of the box questions.
Cool.
So you can come back to present time, but would you rather travel back into the future or back in time or into the future? And let's just say that you're observing.
Oh shit, man. You can't change nothing.
No, not yet.
Right. Damn, I don't know, dude. Like the way shit's going right now, I'd rather go to the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, shit, dude, because like like I picture the future like a bunch of robots and artificial intelligence and like crazy shit. You know what I mean? Hopefully it's not like that, but
No
the
kidding.
past, man, something about the past, like shit. As a matter of fact, yeah, dude, if I can go back and like see like Bob Marley perform Peter Tosh, fucking Burning Spear, or like, even I don't know, maybe meet Bruce Lee or go train with Bruce Lee or something, like that would be sick, dude. You know what I mean? Or see him in like if I can't, I can only observe, but to see that dude perform, or any of these other reggae artists perform, or some of these bands like Sade is a huge influence to me, dude, that'd be sick.
That would be awesome. And yeah, I mean, even if you couldn't take a lesson from Bruce Lee, you kind of could, because you'd be observing maybe his like school or whatever, and you'd be like, hey, I'm getting this lesson he doesn't even know.
Oh yeah, dude.
No, that's good input on that. All
Yeah,
right,
man.
well, I always ask a weird question here on the Smoke Sesh, and I just want to know, do you believe in aliens?
Oh, dude, I'm like firm believer in aliens, bro. It's funny, man, because like I'm a diehard Ancient Aliens fan, bro.
Hey, here we go.
Dude, I can't get enough of that shit. And that's funny, man, that you asked that during this smoke session, because I definitely partake in smoking plenty, man. Like I love the herb. It's just right now, I like, just to be honest and kind of give you a little info on that. I think my body chemistry has been changing, man, because it just affects me way different nowadays than it used to. And it's funny. And honestly, like I probably overdid it, dude. Like I would be like 6 dabs deep before like noon. I wake up at like 8, 9 o'clock, 6 dabs deep, bro. You're like a fucking zombie at that point. You know what I mean? And so I would just be like retarded, dude. So I was like, all right, I need to chill out with this shit, because I was, I always think like I'm in control, but I'm like, dude, I gotta maintain control, because that shit started taking over me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, because it was like hard not to hit it. Like I want to hit it. You love the flavor, you love the feeling, all that shit. So I'm like, I want to hit it. You know what I mean? But I was like, dude, I got to get back into control of this shit right here. But
Were you working at home at the time?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. That.
So yeah, I made it easy. But even when I wasn't, dude, it's funny, man. I have like, the e-cigarette box, the mod box with the coil and shit.
Yep.
Well, you can, and this is funny, man. I don't know anyone else who's done this, but you make a coil like you're doing e-juice, but don't use the cotton. And you could take a little dab and like roll it into like a little rice kernel and put it in the middle of that coil, and fucking you basically get a portable dab right there and then right to the dome. And I would take, I would be working, taking fucking blasts in the bathroom or wherever I can get one. You know what I mean? And so it was just getting out of hand, dude.
For sure.
But anyway, back to the story, man. Because when I first watched Ancient Aliens, I was snowboarding up in Mammoth with a couple of homies, and I ate some edibles and shit, and I was on a good one. And Ancient Aliens came on, and it was the first time I ever seen that, and I was like, holy shit, what is this? Like freaking out, dude. And like, it was funny. We had a joint hotel room. It was like 2 of us in one room, 2 in the other. The door like opens so you could walk in and shit. My homies were in the other room, like in their boxers. It was funny as hell. And I'm like running in there like, dude, you gotta check this fucking show out, bro. Like aliens, it's like crazy shit. I've been telling you guys this shit, from the beginning, man. Like, freaking this has been going on since like Jesus Day, like boom, boom, and all this stuff. So anyway, I was like blown away by that shit, man. So I've probably seen every damn episode of that. But and honestly, dude, when I was in San Diego, and I'm like, honestly, I've been thinking about this. And even last night I went outside and I was looking up, at the stars. I always check it out pretty much nightly, especially lately we've had this red blood moon or whatever. It's been nuts.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's crazy. So I've been going outside and I'm like always looking up for shit. But when I was in San Diego one time, I swear, dude, being high at that time was normal for me. So I was normal. I was in my right mind, But I swear to God, dude, I seen like these crazy lights looking towards Mexico, the south, and like 3 lights, and they all were like at the top, whatever, the top, the horizon's here, they're up here. And these lights would come down, trickle down. Then they would disappear, like right when they're above the horizon. And then the next thing you know, they're back up here. And I'm like, holy shit, am I seeing stuff? Like, what is going on, dude? But I swear the shit was real, bro. I've never seen anything like that. I don't know what the hell it was, dude, whether it was like government shit or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely something out there. I've had some crazy experiences. I lived in LA. I met this girl, dude. It's funny, through like Craigslist back in the day. It was probably like 2004 or something, but she was like serious, bro. Like she might have been an alien herself. But for real, dude. But she told me some crazy shit. Yeah. But check this out, because this is cool, man. This is crazy. So she told me this story, and she told me like she was having a dream, or like, it was kind of like not dreaming but not sleeping, where these entities, aliens, whatever, she calls the grays. I'm sure you're familiar, but
yeah,
she said these motherfuckers hold you down and like you can't move, right? And what you have to do is go, fuck you, you're not going to do this to me, I'm not going to let you take my body and all this shit, right? And I was like, I believe, so I'm like, kind of like, okay, she might be a little nuts, but there might be some truth to it as well, so I'm like, I'll take her for a word, because I always, I take everything with a grain of salt, right? And I swear, dude, here's the crazy shit. So one night I was sleeping, or thought I was, on my back, and I was not dreaming, and I wasn't sleeping, but I was, I don't know, it was like an in-between thing, right?
Yeah.
And I could hear shit outside. I had the window open. I could hear dogs barking. I could hear people walking up the steps in the house I was living in. And I swear, dude, like some shit, it felt like 3 entities were in my room around me,
Oh shit.
and motherfuckers were holding me down, but they no. Oh, so I'll get to that. So they had a pillow like over my face, suffocating me,
Oh fuck.
right? Yeah, like trying to suffocate me and hold me down and shit. And I'm thinking, like, call this chick right now. I gotta call this chick who told me that story.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to reach for the phone at the same time. I remember what she told me, and I'm like, fuck you. You're not gonna do this shit to me, right? And then I wake up and I'm laying flat on my stomach. So I'm like, well, how the fuck does that happen if I felt like I was laying on my back and they're like putting a pillow over my face?
Damn.
And I was like, whoa, dude, that shit's crazy. So I don't know if it was like in the mind, but then check this shit out. This is the craziest part of the whole thing. There's a documentary. It's called Stepping Razor Red X. It's a Peter Tosh documentary.
Yeah.
It's dope. You got to watch. If you haven't seen it,
I've
definitely check
seen
it
it.
out.
I highly recommend seeing that for sure.
Dude, so you'll know. So there's this one point in that movie, and this was, I think I saw that movie after this experience, like years after. It had no connection whatsoever, right, to my experience. And in that movie, Peter Tosh says the same shit. He was held down by some entities, and he said, "Bumbaclot," and like he said, all of a sudden, the shit released.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, when I heard that shit and watched that, it gave me the chill. Like, I'm kind of getting the chills right now, And I was like, whoa, dude, this is crazy, bro. Because, like, he made that movie in like the 70s or something.
Yeah, that was a throwback. Yeah, I remember watching that and getting chills too, and also about his like best friend and whatnot. Like, oh man, it's just a crazy movie. Go out there and watch it if you haven't. But yeah, man, that's a crazy story, dude. A lot of people come on this episode or on our podcast, and they have their own alien stories. So I'm telling you, through the High Grade Radio podcast, we're gonna unravel the truth, man. We're gonna find these aliens.
Dude, I hope so, bro, for real. Because like, it's funny as shit. Because I watch these movies or like these videos. There's another good one on Netflix called it's like Bob Lazar, Area 51.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
that shit is crazy, bro. And I want to know. I want to know so fucking bad. Like, I'm not afraid, bro. Bring this alien over here. Like, let's talk. Let's do whatever. Like, tell me some shit. Blow my mind. Whatever. You know what I mean? So.
For real.
Make some music.
Yeah.
Get some new plugins.
Right? For real, dude. They be making some crazy intergalactic shit, I'm sure.
No kidding, dude. Well, yeah, man. I mean, thank you for participating in the smoke sesh. That's pretty much it right there, brother. But we always get into some weird stuff, but we're going to get back into some real life stuff. I know the quarantine's going on right now, but you offer up your own little personal product of giving lessons on Pro Tools and whatnot. You want to tell the people about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. Give thanks, bro. Yeah, dude. Like, basically, I love helping people. I love talking to people, of course. And I mean, shit, it's all about community. And like I said earlier, making friends, man. So I'm like, shit, I got knowledge. I got some info in my brain. I could definitely share some stuff because from things I've seen other people do, there's a lot that goes into audio engineering, especially if you don't know signal flow, it's called. And like Pro Tools, to me, it's a tape machine. They used to use tape, 2-inch tape back in the day. So it's tape, and it's also a recording console. So if you were in a real studio and you were sitting in front of 32 or 64, 128 channels or whatever it is, it could get like mind-boggling, right? And I see Pro Tools as the same thing because each channel is a strip on the console. So you can, treat it the same exact way. And as a matter of fact, you should. So somebody who doesn't have knowledge of signal flow or engineering, they're just kind of winging it. There's so many little things that could help enhance, it's like, what does a send do? Auxiliary send, what does an insert do? What's the difference? Like, I see people put effects like reverbs on the insert where it works. Don't get me wrong, dude. Like, like I said, I'm non-traditional. So, hey, do your thing. And I encourage people, like, do crazy shit. You know what I mean? But if I can help them learn something different, maybe it'll blow their mind, or like, like, oh shit, I didn't know that before. This is actually a better way of doing it. I could get a better sound or whatever, So I'm all about it, man. Like I love sharing information, and like that's the one thing, especially being an artist that I'm trying to figure out this whole game or this whole thing, how to do this and become successful. There's like secret, or there's no real secrets, but there's so much information that you see Facebook ads and, oh, buy my course and buy my shit and blah blah blah, and you want to be successful, and it's like, damn dude, I don't really have the money to afford all that. Like I'd love to learn from you, but I can't really afford that. So I'm like, no man, information should be free, it should be shared, it should be, you know what I mean? Like there shouldn't be secrets, because at the end of the day, I see it like a level playing field. And one thing I love about K-Bong, who I've worked with before as well, I love that dude. He's amazing. But indeed, he, he's got a song like music is the mission, you know what I mean? It's like music, the message is the mission, or whatever it is. And it's like, that's what it should be, dude. It's not a competition. You know what I mean? I don't see it like that. And I always, like with Blaine, even we just exchanged like contact lists. I make a pretty good list of artists, promoters, other managers, or so and so forth. And I'm like, bro, here's my whole list. Like whatever you need, feel free. Like call them up, text, email, whatever you need to do, because seeing other people succeed, man, is like the best, most gratifying thing that I've ever experienced. I love seeing that, like even my boy Ambassador, he recently moved back to Virginia, and he like all about his family and stuff, which I totally commend him for. But he never really got to where I saw his potential, because he's super talented. And it like, kind of breaks my heart in that sense, because the dude is unbelievable. He's a, super inspiration to me. And anytime he did succeed and he did great shit, I was always like, bro, you're the man. Like, how can I help? I want to enhance what you're doing. So I love that, man. I love seeing people succeed, making money or whatever it is, getting good food or staying healthy and all that shit, because that's, life is made of people. We're on a planet with like 8 billion people or something, right? So if you want to see your fellow man like fail and shit, like, dude, there's something wrong with you, man. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So.
For sure. Well, that's a really awesome service that you offer, man. That's free, y'all.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn Pro Tools, hit up my man Andrew right here. He's gonna get you hooked up, dude.
Indeed.
And from your music, dude, it sounds like you know exactly what you're doing. So definitely hit this guy up. We're gonna get into some more songs of yours real quick. We're actually gonna play 2 this time, and these 2 are called "Cool Out" and "Critical." And they go like this.
Cool out, just be cool. Cool out, just be cool. Cool out, just be cool. Cool out. How do I speak it in a method that don't seem like I think the world is a crooked rat? So many people talk a plastic chat. My heart's broken when they're sounding like a bureaucrat. Makes it hard to imagine that sufferation doesn't feel like a metal bag. Don't wanna judge it like a quick react, but I feel tension like anxiety attack. Cool out, just be cool. Cool out, just be cool. Cool out, just be cool. Cool out. Miseducation teaches prejudice. I see kindness being simple and considerate. There is no pride remaining ignorant. Much more shameful showing violence to an immigrant. You can't be human and discriminate. Check the mirror cause you're looking like a hypocrite. All are equal and equivalent. False pretension doesn't hold any merit. Cool out, cool out, just be cool. Cool out, cool out, just be cool. Cool out, cool out, just be cool. Cool out. Times are tough but not a time for hate. World is hurting cause we're crippled in a mental state. Racist thoughts we need alleviate. Shoulders burning when you're holding on to heavy weight. We're all here as not to isolate. Rather be the type of person we shall duplicate. It takes no effort to appreciate different cultures with respect to imitate. Cool out, cool out, just be cool. Cool out, cool out, cool out. Riding to the beach on my bicycle, riding past the homeless and the poor people. I can't escape from living in this capital society that's dying and dysfunctional. Seem like every time I turn on my radio, the sound that's coming out is only so. And they wanna tell me that band is incredible, but when I play the reggae music, I'm too critical right now. Critical right now, them just too critical for me. Critical right now, them just too critical. People say them hungry, there's no food to eat, when the only thing we're given is some toxic meat. Politicians get upset when the masses speak, and the paycheck that we're getting is incomplete. Federal governments are using mind control, and will lock you in a prison without parole. They don't wanna see us gather like a Jericho, but it's time for them to crumble cause they're critical right now. Critical right now, them just too critical for me. Critical right now, them just too critical. We work so hard, we get to belly full, then contaminate the crops with a chemical. When I look at the sky, I see a chemtrail. We're told it's for our good if the sun fails. If we could not destroy the earth, it'd be a miracle. What they're calling patriotic is criminal. Fake news now spreads like an aerosol, but we have to seek the truth cause they're critical right now. Critical right now, them just too critical for me. Critical right now, them just too critical. The youth of today are being ridiculed. Inequality is now on the schedule. Bloodshed is accepted as usual, and what lives matter is disputable. Now we're dealing with conditions unlivable, but we make the best we can with the minimum. So when they justify their actions as biblical, they will only be revealed as hypocritical. right now, them just too critical.
Yes, once again, that was Wisdom and Sound with Cool Out and Critical. Dude, once again, sounded great. Like I don't know how you do it with your tracks and making them sound like the full real instruments and everything with the midis, but dude, you're doing a great job at what you do. And yeah, did you do that once again for these tracks as well, or do we have some live drums on them? Or
Yeah, exactly. On this one was live drums. I
okay,
did that in the studio. Actually, those rhythms I recorded in like 2007, 2008
oh
in San
nice,
Diego. Yeah. And it was a studio I used to work at called Rolling Thunder. Fucking place was awesome, dude. Like I wish I was still there. It's just, after the crash with the market and all that shit in 2007, 2008, they just went under. And honestly, like the owners were a little out there too, so they didn't really have the business savviness, if you will.
okay,
And but I tried to hold it down as much as possible. But we had, we had special times in there, and I had a band at the time. We were called Love and Groove, and we actually played a belly at one time in San Diego, which was pretty sick. And that time I was in the studio, live drums and live bass. Yeah, Carlos played bass on both those tracks. Same dude who played with Mystic Roots in Pato.
sick.
And yeah, and then I think later, sometime, a couple years after, I redid the keys MIDI, and then shit, I think that's about it. I don't know other instrumentation on those tunes. I mean, there's live guitar. The dudes that were in the band at that time played those guitar tracks, which were nasty. So yeah, and then mixed it all though in Pro Tools on the computer. So same program, or shit, it's probably the same version actually that I use for all the other tunes of Pro Tools.
Nice, nice. Did you
And
record?
math.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry, brother. Did you
Huh.
record the lyrics recently, or were those recorded as well back in 2007 and whatnot?
Yeah, those lyrics are recent. Let's see, Critical, the first verse, riding on the street on my bicycle or whatever, that one, I wrote the first verse back in the day, probably like 2008 or something, but
Okay.
that was it. I didn't have a hook. I didn't have the rest of the verses. And then when I decided that I'm going to become an artist and like start to develop myself, then that's when I finished that tune, came up with the hook, and came up with the other three verses. And that was in 2018. And that was the first single that I put out. And I just always love that rhythm, man. Like I love like the intro, because it's like cut time, like regular 2/4 on the kick snare, and then it goes into that steppers, kick, 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 snare.
For sure.
And I just love that tune, man. Like the rhythm was sick. And I always like my music, I feel like it's a little different. I always was like very hard, like especially like in my younger days, my youth days, I was like very militant Rasta. I grew my dreadlocks, for like 12 years. And partly was because in the Bible it says in number 6 there's what's called a Nazarite, or the vow of the Nazarite. And so the Nazarite is like one of the most holiest people in the Bible. And so there's 3 vows that the Nazarite takes onto God, and one of them is not to cut your hair. The other one's not to eat the grape, or I interpret it as like drinking alcohol. And the third one is not to be around dead animals and dead shit. So like, a lot of Rastas are vegan because of that.
Right.
And so I took all 3 vows and was like really serious and was very militant in my ways. So I always wanted the music to be like real hard, and like the message had to be like fierce, man. And like I was a little pissed off in my younger days too. So I was just like, fuck everything, like society sucks, like burn Babylon down.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So like that's my sounds like a little hard. And I still, as I'm older, man, I'm like chilled out a little bit. But I'm very positive and very happy, and try to maintain that positive vibe. So like I want my music to be more positive and not so like, crazy, like burning everybody and everything, because it's just not positive and it's not fun or friendly. So you know what I mean? So that's kind of like the backline with those rhythms. Actually, those two both Cool Out. Actually, it's funny on Cool Out because that's a remake of a Don Carlos tune, Johnny Cool. So that rhythm's from there. And if you follow reggae music, you'll see back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, these guys would do a rhythm and you would hear like 5, 10, 15 different artists sing on the same rhythm. They still do it nowadays.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. So we were going to redo that one for Don Carlos because he lives in Southern California. And I don't know what happened. Just never got around to it, or just we didn't make the links match or whatever. And so I was like, shit, I'm sitting on these rhythms, man. Let's freaking use them, dude. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that Cool Out, Johnny Cool. And I think in that tune, in Don Carlos tune, there's one part where he's like, cool out, cool out. So it's like, shit, let's just go with that, Cool Out. Plus it was still kind of like that conscious, like Born Babylon vibe to me, like when I thought of the lyrics and the concept of the tune, but it was also like Cool Out. We don't need to be so harsh on shit or like judging people, or like whatever. In one part I say like, basically look yourself in the mirror because, nobody's like hard, nobody's hard enough, or like, who are you or me or anybody else to judge anybody else or to say this or that about anybody, and especially like, people that we don't understand, like their lifestyle or their sexual preference or shit like that. It's like, man, who the hell is anybody to judge anyone else, man? That's just, it's not a way that I want to be. And it's like, I want to show my appreciation to people. And like, I know gay people. I'm friends with a lot of like gay people or black folk or, Chinese people or whatever, dude. Think of any difference than I am, right? And I'm friends and love all kinds of people. And these people have given me opportunities just as much as anyone else. So, dude, that's amazing. I'm blessed for that. So it's like, I want to extend that idea to other people and other people who make lots of judgments. I've been judged so many times. I'm sure people talk so much shit about me, whatever. And it's like, whatever, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we just gotta like remember we're all human, we all bleed the same shit, we all have the same insecurities, the same, whatever shortcomings, and just like give each other the benefit of the doubt, man. Like we got to be here to help people, and especially nowadays with the COVID and all this crazy shit, man. It's not so much about the individual, like I need to get mine. It's more like, how can I add value to you, to like what you're doing? I've always been a big component on, what can I do for you? And like, even like lately, some of these crews have been helping promote me and put me up, and like even you guys, it's like, I'm so grateful. Like, what can I do for you? Like you're doing such a justice, or like such a privilege to me. Like, how can I repay you? And I always like write that in my emails and whatever. And I love that, dude. Like that's the best shit, man. Because, I was actually in an acupuncture, and I'll make this quick, but I was at an acupuncture session the other day for my wife. Luckily, he took us even with the COVID. He was awesome. And he was like, dude, we need to get away from like this money mentality and go towards more like trade, like you could trade your music lessons or whatever for like a bag of groceries, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, dude. Like, that's awesome. Or like, a girl does, makes kombucha, and it's like, yo, I'll give you acupuncture and you send me a couple bottles of kombucha, we're good. You know what I mean? So like, that's the shit. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, dude.
Right.
Man, everything that you just said was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you're a great dude, man, and it shows right there. And we really appreciate having you on this episode, dude. I wow, I'm blown away by everything you just said, man. It
Thanks,
makes me
man.
want to be a better person, and I've definitely been trying big time, but we should all be giving back to each other, just like you said, and especially in times like this, trading talents between each other, and what we're best at, we other people can benefit from that, and we should benefit from each other, and once again, I can't say thank you enough, Andrew, for joining us on this episode of the High Grade Radio podcast.
Yeah, hey, it's my pleasure. Nick and Hayden, you guys are freaking amazing. Definitely am so grateful to be part of this. And yeah, dude, it's awesome just making the connection. You know, obviously I didn't know you guys yesterday at all, and now I feel like you are my best homies, you know?
For sure, man. And hey, you're welcome back anytime, bro. Seriously. Before we get out of here, is there anything you want to plug? Like your social media, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, definitely, man. Social media, all at Wisdom and Sound. I got, website, wisdomandsound.com, but I also want to put out there, I have another website, wisdomandsoundmusic.com, and it's on this new platform, man, that I want to kind of give a shout out because they've been so good to me. They just featured me as a new artist on their platform, and it's kind of like a Spotify or Apple Music or something, but what they do for artists is they give you a website that you could build. And then the coolest part about it, dude, and they're not like telling me to do this or anything. It's just, they've been so good to me. But the coolest thing, dude, like as opposed to Facebook or Instagram, you can follow me and, I can maybe make 100,000 followers, right? But I don't get shit for it on Instagram or Facebook. But if I get, for every follower I get through Rhythmic Rebellion, it's called, on my site. So you don't, you can just go to my wisdomandsoundmusic.com, follow me. You'll never necessarily know it's even Rhythmic Rebellion. But if you follow my profile on that platform, they'll pay me every follower. So it's like, it's unheard of. Yeah, it's unheard of. So yeah. And, I definitely try to, promote that because it's free to my fans and to my audience. And so if you guys, out there watching can go on and follow me, sign up for free. You can listen to all my music. There's no ads, nothing, it's not like you have to pay for premium or any of that shit. And if you do follow me, Rhythmic Rebellion will pay me for that. So it's like a win-win. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's a dope platform.
So Rhythmic Rebellion.
Yeah. Yeah. rhythmicrebellion.com, and any artists that want to sign up for it, totally. And they also do like music writers. So if you're not an artist, you're just a composer, like get on there because they'll make your music available to artists so that maybe an artist will pick up the tune and want to write to it or whatever, So
sick.
Right.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
It's cool.
Well, hey, man, Andrew, once again, you've been an awesome guest. Everybody out there listening, please go check out Wisdom and Sound. You're great at what you do, brother. And we'll have you back anytime. I can't say it enough. This has been an awesome episode. Hayden, you got anything else you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
I just want to thank you, man, for joining. It was a super good podcast. I mean, Nick killed it all, and he said it like 9 times. Like, yeah, we had a super fun time today, and we appreciate you on today. We're going to throw in a little clip of our Patreon at the end of this episode, so check that out. And that's all we got. This is High Grade Radio Podcast, signing out. Peace.
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 Yes, we want to thank our guest, Andrew Mencher, a.k.a. Wisdom and Sound, for joining us on this episode of the High Grade Radio Podcast. If you like what you're hearing and you want to help the podcast out, you can go over to patreon.com/highgraderadio and you can donate to our Patreon. We got different tiers with different incentives. And yeah, you can even be a guest on our show as a top incentive. But yeah, once again, this is High Grade Radio signing out, y'all. Peace.